You're listening to or watching What's the Tea? My name is Lydia.
My name's Andy.
And basically, we are two former support workers that navigate life, I would say over a cuppa, but it's a bit too hot in the UK at the moment, so it's over some squash for me. Have you got a drink, Andy? Keeping your fluids up?
I've got water.
Water, look at that.
Yeah.
In a very funky cup. We try and navigate adulting life. And when we were support workers, we sometimes shocked ourselves by giving good advice. And so we thought, hey, let's try a podcast. And this is where What's the Tea came from.
Yeah, one thing seems to lead to another, and I'm sorry, I can't go any further without mentioning the heat.
Yeah.
At the time of recording, I know it's incredibly English. It is the 26th of June. You know, so by the time that this goes out, this will probably be hopefully a distant memory. Hopefully it's got a little bit cooler over the next couple of weeks. But this is when it was really hot. So if
during the amber weather warning.
Yes. So if we are a little bit unhinged, blame the heat.
Yeah. It was so hot last night, I've had 3 hours sleep. So, I am a little bit delirious.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Also in the UK, I feel like, I don't know about other countries, but hay fever as well when it's hot. Like the pollen is like nobody's business. And I'm having a big flare up of eczema on my face. And obviously hay fever and the heat is just not helping with that whatsoever. So to fellow eczema sufferers that are listening or watching, like, me and Andy sympathise with you as fellow eczema sufferers. In this heat, it is not fun.
Yes, yeah. So in a moment, we're going to be talking. We've been a bit kind of down on ourselves a little bit so far. We've been, because of the weather, it's not exactly been great times. We're kind of struggling a bit. So we're going to be talking all things good news in just a moment.
So the reason that the kind of good news idea came from is just that our current news platform, our mainstream news platform, whether that's kind of on the TV with main news channels, social media, whatever it is, it can be really dark and depressing at times, or most of the time. And it's just like, actually, is there any good in the world or the country? And it can get you really down. And so we thought dedicating a whole episode to sharing good news to you guys, so you can have a break from mainstream media and news, just to kind of boost yourselves, to be like, there is good going on out there. And so we have various different news items that we're just going to kind of read to hopefully uplift the nation. Not that the nation's listening to us, but you never know. Uplift the nation with positive, good things that are happening in the world or the UK.
It can feel a little bit, I would say everything's on fire, but people would reckon I'm talking about the weather again, and I'm going to try and stop doing that. Before we get into that, I have a nomination for this week's Star of the Week, where we kind of try and bring back, back when you were younger, you used to get gold star for doing something good. Today, I would like to nominate Lydia for gold star of the week for messaging me and saying, recording today.
Oh yeah, you forgot that you were recording.
It's not like it was my calendar or anything.
I'll take the gold star. I don't know if it's gold star worthiness, but I'll take it.
I mean, it was useful.
I think gold star of the week should go to you, Andy, actually, because I know we've just said we weren't going to talk about the heat anymore, but during this horrific heat wave, you cycled to and from work. Like, you weren't just helping the planet. You were thinking about, actually, do you know what? I can cycle and lower, my carbon footprint and the cost. And the heat just didn't stop you. You just did it. And I think that's gold. I think that's like 2 gold stars worthy, especially with this heat.
I did adjust my hours accordingly to try and beat the heat a little bit. But
okay.
Yes, good news.
Good news.
Would you like to go first?
Yes, please. So if you recall, some of you may have had this vaccine or knew when it got rolled out, but the HPV vaccine is basically a vaccination that was introduced when I was a teenager to try and prevent cervical cancer in women. an analysis has found that no cervical cancer deaths among women aged 20 to
Mm,
24 in England between 2020 and 2024. And they estimate the HPV vaccination programme has already prevented around 200 cervical cancer deaths. Big public health win, with the caveat that vaccination rates need to stay high. So that is great news. Medicine,
totally.
vaccination was rolled out to reduce the risk of cervical cancer, and we're already seeing that impacted in women aged 20 to 24 with no cervical cancer deaths between 2020 and 2024. I think that's amazing news.
Very much a classic case of medicine doing its job.
Yeah.
On the subject of medicine, NHS is set to offer this type of therapy that can delay the onset of type 1 diabetes.
Ooh.
So there's this recommendation that's been made for a drug to be used for NHS use. I'm not going to even try and pronounce the name of the drug. But how it works is it delays the onset of symptomatic type 1 diabetes by an average of nearly 3 years for adults or children who are in like the early stage of it. And the reason why that's important is that it gives more time for things like insulin and diet control and weight management, and it just gives more time for those things to kind of kick in properly.
Yeah, that's
And
amazing news.
yeah, hopefully make it all better, I guess.
Yeah. Who knows what this means for the diabetic community? Medicine is moving and changing.
Yeah.
Now, earlier in the episode, I did just give Andy a gold star for thinking about carbon footprint. And this next good news article is all related to that. Electric cars have overtaken petrol cars in the UK of new sales. Carbon Brief analysis found that in the 12 months to May in 2026, UK consumers bought 516,490 new battery electric vehicles versus 504,010 new petrol cars. This is the first time that electric vehicles have overtaken petrol cars over a 12-month period in the UK. So there you go, a positive impact on our planet, hopefully lowering our carbon footprint and hopefully helping climate change.
And continuing on the theme of cars, carbon footprint, and health benefits, so it's been recently announced that the London air pollution deaths have fallen by around 40%. So this place called New Imperial College, that's based in London, has analysed reports of deaths in that area that have been linked to air pollution. And the estimates are that it's fallen from around 6,400 to 8,000 in 2019 to 3,800 to 5,100 in 2024.
That's great.
Obviously, still far too many.
Of course.
But I mean, we're looking at. I can't do those maths. Yeah, all right. It's
nearly half.
It's about 40%. It's nearly half.
Yeah, nearly half, close to 50%.
It is, yeah. And it's a real sign that changes such as clean air policies, cleaner buses, lower emission cars does make a difference.
Amazing. And on the track of good things for the environment, wind and solar overtook gas globally for the first time. So in April 2026, wind and solar generated 22% of global electricity ahead of gas at 20%, according to Ember. That is a big symbolic climate milestone. Not job done, but definitely the spreadsheet and finally moving in the right direction. Using more kind of eco-friendly energy providers such as wind and solar compared to gas. So again, good win for the planet and for us, according to the last, article. Helps us live longer.
And keeping on the climate theme, so there's this new study that's looked at decades of satellite data, found that global mangrove losses have slowed and recent gains have slightly outpaced the losses. So mangroves is a type of tree that store carbon, protect coasts from storms and floods, support wildlife, which feels like
good thing.
A good thing. It's obviously not the world's biggest, greatest news piece, in that it's very hopeful. It's not a definite this is all fixed. But because there's obviously things like sea level rising and things like that are still risks. But it is a good thing, and it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, it's still more hopeful than I think some other news that we may have listened to
Yes.
or seen in our
Yeah.
time via mainstream or social media. Still on the global climate environment kind of theme. China's electric vehicle rollout may have prevented around 260,000 premature deaths. So a Nature report on new research found that China's rapid shift to electric and new energy vehicles has cut some air pollutions, and it's linked to an estimated 260,000 fewer premature deaths. It's a climate and a health crossover story. Cleaner transport means cleaner lungs, which is refreshingly practical. So again, just shows us making those positive changes isn't just good for our planet and Mother Nature, but it's also great for our physical health.
So good news all around. If you like the idea of good news, if you're liking the idea of the stuff that we've been sharing, Lydia, where can people find this sort of good news for themselves?
Amazing. So there is a few places that can be found, and obviously we'll put links in the show notes where we can. So there is an actual newspaper that you can subscribe to. Yes, a physical newspaper. Who thought they still existed? Okay. And it's all dedicated to happy news. And interestingly, it's called the Happy Newspaper. And it was a lady that started it because she just felt that the news, similarly to what me and Andy said at the start of this episode, was just really dark and depressing and wasn't spreading or celebrating good, positive, happy news. I have subscribed to it in previous years, and it is just great. It's a colourful looking newspaper, and all the stories are really uplifting and just provide hope in your life again on humanity and the world. So yeah, if you're interested, you can go onto their Instagram, give them a follow, where they sometimes share a few snippets of their happy news stories, or you can go via their website to see at the cost of subscribing. It's not expensive to subscribe to a newspaper if you want to have a chance of changing how you are intaking some news.
Amazing. There are also other websites available. I think my lack of hydration in my mouth is starting to ruin my ability to use things like words. nice.org.uk/news is one place for what turns out to be nice news, and goodgoodgood.co is also another place for, I guess, good news.
I also found as well, which I haven't told Andy yet, but I will let him know the link so he can provide it in the show notes.
Here we go.
There is a Facebook page called Positive News, and it just shares positive, uplifting news stories on a Facebook page, which I think is just great to see on a social media platform, just to break up some of that negativity. Another good news story, though, that I just wanted to share it's to do with football, and it's to do with Mexico. So since the World Cup's come out, actually Mexico now are they've started a women's partially sighted football team. Which is really good for the partially sighted community, that there's more interest out there and more of options and availability to them to participate in sports. So so let's celebrate Mexico and making
that's come out of all things World Cup.
Yeah, exactly. Who would have thought?
Sweet. Yeah. And now, from good news to weird news. Alien squirrels or a cat that talks. Florida man on staying on all things Mexico, and maybe a little bit less serious. Merlin, a 2-year-old duck dressed in Mexico's national football colours, became an unofficial viral mascot after Mexico's World Cup opener. But FIFA rules reportedly kept him out of the stadium for a later match. He did, however, make it to the presidential press conference. This is duck, which feels like the duck equivalent of failing the club door, but kind of getting into Parliament, in that he wasn't allowed into the main stadium, but the president obviously kind of went, no, you can join me for the press conference.
That is hilarious. And love that.
Yeah, I mean, it feels very World Cup, very kind of weird, odd, weird cup story moment.
I wonder who dressed up the duck. Whose duck is it?
I mean,
do you think the president will adopt the duck?
Now that would be a twist. That would be, a story for the World Cup.
Yeah. Oh, and Sticking to an animal theme, a giraffe called Gracie is missing in Texas, guys. It's missing in Texas.
Okay.
Gracie escaped from a ranch in Texas Hill Country and has been missing for nearly 2 weeks. The owner has used helicopters, local sightings have come in, and there's a $5,000 reward. Yet somehow a tree-height animal is still playing hide and seek. Successfully, it seems.
Now, weird news. Sticking on the World Cup, sticking on the Mexico theme. Seems there's been a story about a duck called Merlin, a 2-year-old duck. He got dressed in Mexico's national football colours, and he got taken along to the World Cup opener, featuring Mexico. First game of the World Cup, and he was videoed being there, became a bit of an unofficial mascot, perhaps. And yeah, people loved him. People loved the duck being at the football. Unfortunately, FIFA rules kept him out of the stadium for a later match.
Oh, poor duck.
I know, right? I mean, why can't we just bring ducks and stuff to World Cup matches?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, especially when it's become like an official mascot, an unofficial mascot.
Yeah, I don't think everyone should bring ducks to a football match because I feel like that would be carnage. But let's be honest, this is a mascot duck dressed in the colours. Come on.
But however, he did manage to make it to a presidential press conference later on, which feels like, even though he wasn't allowed to go to the football, being invited to see the president still feels like some sort of win.
Yeah. I wonder who owns the duck, who dressed the duck. Do you think the president might adopt the duck?
I was going to say, now it sounds like it could be the president that is
the president has now taken over the duck. Well, maybe. Sticking on the animal theme, a giraffe called Gracie is missing in Texas. Giraffe is missing in Texas, guys. Okay. So Gracie escaped from a ranch in Texas Hill Country.
How do you lose a giraffe?
I know. Okay. And it's apparently been nearly 2 weeks. The owner has used helicopters. Local sightings have come in, and there's a $5,000 reward. However, yet a tree-height animal is still playing hide and seek, and successfully. How can you not see a giraffe in a helicopter? I think let's just say, I think that giraffe deserves a medal for the best hide and seek candidate there is, because I don't know how you could lose a giraffe.
I mean, I have to admit, my knowledge of Pacific kind of American geography isn't great. It does look like certain areas of Texas does it looks like it does range from being kind of quite desert-like to being quite foresty-like. So maybe the giraffe's kind of hiding a little bit amongst some trees, perhaps.
Yeah. I wonder what upset Gracie for her to be like, do you know what? I'm going on my own. Making it out on my own. I'm going to survive. I'm going to be independent.
Gracie, if you're out there, please come home.
Please come home.
We can work it out.
Yeah.
On that surprisingly somber note for a podcast devoted to good news, thank you for watching and/or listening. Please subscribe to us on your favourite podcast provider or find us on the YMCA Exeter YouTube channel. Until next time, take care now.
Bye, guys.